NMZ, flying at my feet, it took a 9mm. NMZ, flying at my feet, it took a 9mm rhyme straight to your mind. Damn, my better split. This is my time, so I make my way up the block. Get to home base and lock that fucker up. Crack the Cavassier and grab the phone. Call one of my troops up. Hope the soldiers when he says, yo, what's up, what's going on? Make it quick, cause I'm trying to get my Stellar on. Nigga, fuck your girl, I'm in the shit. These lyrical assassins tried to pull a hit, and then boom, came a noise from the other room. It was the boys in blue with the SWAT crew. They got us locked up for lyrical murder. It's one of them charges that you never heard of. It's the booth. The booth. The booth. The booth. Yeah, it's the booth. The booth. The booth. Yeah, we're killing all your podcasts like the HIV virus. You want to battle this kid? Huh, don't even try this. Back the fuck up, think again, count to 10. You want to grab that mic just to get done in? It's the booth. The booth. The booth. The booth. Yeah, it's the booth. The booth. The booth. The booth. Yeah, it's the booth.
Was he African?
African.
No, he was American, and he was like you. He looked just like you.
He was Jewish.
Just like you.
Jew. Okay. It's an odd crime for a Jew.
Yeah, pretty docile.
Okay, so we have an African Jew wearing a hoodie.
No, you don't. No, that's not what I said. Is that what you heard me say? I said he looked like you. Do you look like an African Jew?
No, I look like a cop.
Yeah.
He was Caucasian.
All right, your boy Sinista1 broadcasting live from the City of Champions. You are listening to The Booth, 4 o'clock on a Thursday night, another special night for us. Actually, it was another crazy week for us to come on a Thursday night, to come on before Oscar Mike Radio and Drafting the Circuits, because, again, another Tuesday in a row, even though it wasn't even planned this way, it was actually because my mom was due to go into surgery, and she didn't end up going into surgery. That's a whole other issue. But, again, another Tuesday, another week with people without power. This time, over 268,000 people were without power since Friday. We had a storm blow through here. They didn't call the hurricane, even though that the winds did get up to 100 miles an hour here in Massachusetts. People woke up in the morning with their car. I know my brother actually woke up in the morning. His car was crushed by a tree. So shouts out to my brother. Thank God he was asleep in bed when this happened and he wasn't in the car.
Knock on wood. Yeah.
Yeah, so, he sent me the pictures. And Ken, real quick, legal question. My brother lives in the condo complex. And right now he's going through this whole insurance thing, and I feel like that falls on the condo complex insurance, doesn't it?
Well, it's funny. That's a really hot issue right now. There is a number of cases that says a condo association does have a requirement to properly maintain the property and to cut back trees and other shrubbery that may become dangerous in a storm. The question is, did they do it to a sufficient amount to cut it back, or was it too overgrown? So they're not uniformly responsible. They're only responsible if the tree was overgrown or posed a danger in a normal storm. So that's the question they got to ask. My guess is the condo association's insurance company is going to work a deal with your brother's insurance company and everybody else. That's how they usually work these things out. They do a global settlement.
Okay, sounds good. I just was trying to get that question cleared up. For those who were wondering, I actually asked him that question myself, and, he wasn't sure exactly how it was going to progress. So that's where we're going to head with that, and thank you for that answer. We had a lot of stuff. We had the Pats trade with Jimmy G going to the Niners, and they got back Brian Hoyer. The Cowboys, well, that's it. They lost Ezekiel Elliott. He's going to be gone. And the Eagles, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the stuff that's coming out of Washington. It's funny. Earlier this week, on Sunday night, we were talking about topics for the show. And it was like, oh, yeah, Trump's been pretty quiet. I don't know what we're going to talk about politically. And then as of Tuesday, it was like, holy Christ, all hell broke loose. And we've got a lot to talk about with Trump as of today. And all it took was somebody pleading guilty to cause this. And we got the stuff that's the other stuff in the news. The nurse was ruffled up by the police officer way back. She got $500,000. And then, hey, we got a new segment to the show called the Apology Podium. And what we're going to do, and I got to credit to the Apology Podium, is actually named after a comedy skit by Boston comedian who's well known now nationwide, worldwide, Bill Burr. He did a skit when he did a show in Philadelphia called the Apology Podium, and that's when people say stupid stuff and they wheel up this podium and they have to apologize. So Kevin Spacey's going to be coming. So let's get into this terrorist attack. We're going to give a quick moment of silence for those victims who lost their lives. 8 victims this week in this tragic tragedy. And let's give our moment of silence real quick. All right, so we've had a tragic loss of life here in New York City, and I'm going to let R Squared start off, because he actually said he was just recently at this place where this attack happened, and I'm going to let him give his visual, because he was just there recently, so he can give us kind of a visual as to what may have happened, how it would have happened, and what kind of scene that would have been. So I'm going to let R Squared take over on this one real quick.
Yeah, sure. I was in New York for a week in August, chaperoning my nephew, and while he was doing his program during the day, I was down, doing a lot of the tourist stuff and reliving some of the fun from old days in New York City. And so on a couple of occasions, I was down in that area. I had never actually made it to see the 9/11 Memorial and Museum, and I'd always wanted to do that. And there are other areas down in Tribeca and other areas that are really excited. It's just a whole new part of Manhattan that didn't exist quite frankly, before September 11th. It used to be very much a commercial area that was, as soon as people went home after work, the area was pretty much dead for the night. And now it's a vibrant residential community, lots of restaurants, and as well as all the office buildings down there. So it's a whole different part of Manhattan. And so this jackass, if I could say that on the radio,
yes, you can.
This guy decided, he was living in New Jersey, so obviously he had plenty of good information about Manhattan. He's right across the river, and he had planned a couple of things. Number one, to do it on Halloween because he knew that there would be a lot of people out, and his plan was to get as many people as possible. What we learned today, of course, was he thought that he didn't expect to crash into the school bus that stopped his rampage at the time that it stopped. He thought he would get to the Brooklyn Bridge and continue his carnage across the Brooklyn Bridge. So thank God that didn't happen, or the body count would have been much, much higher, and it would have included a lot more children, too. So, thanks to all the first responders and all the people who did the right thing and contained this. It's a tragedy what happened, of course, but he was aiming to do something a lot worse, so let's be thankful that it wasn't a lot worse, because it very well could have been. But that area is not too far from the World Trade Center and the 9/11 Memorial Museum. That was not part of this guy's planning, of course. There's absolutely no connection, no known connection, and he was going in a different direction, but it was in that area, which is why I was down there in August to see all that. And for anybody listening that has not seen the 9/11 Memorial and Museum, you really should if you get the chance to go to Manhattan. It really is a very, very special place, very well done. The memorial is wonderful, the museum is wonderful, a lot of information, and I highly recommend it for anybody. If you think you know a lot about 9/11, you'll learn even more if you go through there, trust me on that. And but not too far is the West Side Highway, which runs sort of the western edge of Manhattan along the Hudson River, and it's a major area of traffic for people who are living in Manhattan, and even those cutting through, taking the bridges and going along the river. But also they have what's called the Greenway there, the Green Belt, and that is a section where it's a 2 or 3 lane wide bicycle path and pedestrian path where people can go running, walking, bicycling, out for a stroll with their families, and it's a protected area away from traffic. And it's a well-known area, and it's not just for New Yorkers. Tourists go there all the time. Ironically, what was announced last night and earlier this morning, it may have changed as people are in the hospital, but of the 8 that were initially listed as dead, only 1 was a New Yorker. It happens to be a Skidmore College graduate class of 2016, a well-known person, a really good person. And the other 7 were apparently tourists, not from New York. So I guess that's sort of ironic that he didn't even hit the New York target, although I'm sure tourism suits his purpose quite well. But the point is, he's caught, he's in the legal process, It looks like the evidence is pretty strong, but we'll see what happens. It'll take a few months, and we'll see where it goes.
Tough stuff, and it's another bad tragedy. There's all types of rumors yet again out there about this gentleman, and Trump was all over it about the extreme vetting and things like that all over again, and it's brought this whole thing about people coming here into the forefront again. But there isn't as much noise because there's a lot of stuff coming out of Washington. You know what? I really don't want to get into the Washington stuff right now, but because we're talking about this terror attack and Trump, we're just going to go into it and we're going to hold on to the Xbox stuff for later in the show and the sports stuff for later in the show. I'm going to jump right ahead into this stuff out of New Washington because honestly, I was in Boston last week for the Xbox Live premiere of the Xbox One X. And, we kind of thought that that's where we were going to head with the show this week. But because of what happened just in the mere last 48 hours with Donald Trump, I got a lot of stuff to put out there between these two guys. And again, I've got two credible guys here with me. And for those who haven't heard the show yet or are listening now, Robert Resnick is a JAG officer. He was in the military for over 23 years. Ken Diesel is a defense attorney for over 20 years. So these guys, when you're talking about the legal and the military aspect of what we talk about here on the show, these guys aren't like some of these other radio shows that you hear all over the place where they're kind of faking their way through the conversation, and it's all pretty much opinions. A lot of times when these guys are talking, they're talking about facts. They know what they're talking about. So I just want to get into it real quick because the first thing that we have to talk about is that we now have 3 people who are to be questioned and indicted by the FBI and the DOJ in regards to the Russian dossier and this Russian so-called collusion. Manafort was the most recent, and I believe the guy's name was Podesta, who actually out of nowhere pled guilty. So I'm going to let's go to the military, the JAG officer guy. Let's go with him first. Robert, about this guilty verdict that pretty much turned everything upside down. Papadopoulos, thank you. That pretty much turned everything upside down once that guilty was put in. Now, Manafort has pled not guilty at this time, but I'm going to let you get into that, and then I'm going to have a question for Ken on this. Okay,
let me back up 30 seconds real quick, because I know we want to move on to this other topic, but the one thing that the president said about this was several brutal attacks on Senator Chuck Schumer, who obviously is from New York, and he's from New York City, so it's not just the senator from the state, but that's his hometown. It was an awful thing that the president did, blaming this thing in 3 separate tweets and then repeating it later on Senator Schumer. First of all, he was factually incorrect, and even people like Jeff Flake and Lindsey Graham and Peter King and other Republicans have come out today to say Chuck Schumer has been very strong on terrorism and the president should get his facts right. Chuck Schumer did not support that diversity immigration program, which we may or may not speak about later, that the president was blaming. First of all, it has nothing to do with it, and it's a whole separate debate. But just to add that one thing, that I thought that was an unfortunate way for the president to react to, was to try to blame the hometown senator. I thought that was just an awful thing.
And you know what? That's a great point you made, because he did do the same thing in Britain, didn't he? With the Britain Prime Minister after their attacks. Didn't he pretty much throw her under the bus and said, well, this is your fault? I mean, the balls, and I know Ken must be just sitting at home when these things happen. I know Ken must be sitting there just grabbing his head and just like, what the hell is this guy talking about? I mean, he's got to be, I know Ken, and Ken's a political guy, and right now, I hate to say this, because I know a lot of people out there that voted for Trump are still solid supporters, but for me, I've been involved with politics for a long time, and right now I can absolutely say in my heart, in my head, this is the worst administration in the history of presidencies ever. And I'm saying that right now, and people can say you're an idiot or whatever. I'm just saying. Right now, I can tell you right now, this White House is upside down, and I don't think it's ever been the way that it is right now. And for Samantha Huckabee to come out and say that this White House isn't turned upside down and it's running stronger than it's ever run, that's a political load of BS, and I'll let you continue on, Robert.
Yeah, I'll quickly make my point, because I know we want to get Diesel in here, and he has a lot to offer as well. But going back to the federal prosecution issue that you mentioned, yes, Paul Manafort and Gates, his associate there, both pled not guilty when they had their initial appearance this week, and so that, we'll see how those cases proceed. There'll be a lot of discussion between their attorneys and the prosecution staff, and whether it results in a sweetheart deal or not, we'll see. I guess it depends on what they each think they have to gain from the other one. And then, of course, Papadopoulos not only announced that it was a guilty plea, but they had a secret trial a while back, so that both to perfect the charges against Manafort and Gates, but also, I have no doubt, in furtherance of the other investigations. As you know, there are multiple investigations going on. There are a lot of people being looked at. Whether it results in charges, we'll see, but there's no doubt in my mind there'll be more than this coming down the pike in the next few months as the special counsel and the team there complete their investigation. Clearly they got everything they needed out of Papadopoulos at this point, or they wouldn't have announced that deal. So he's toxic at this point, and we'll see what winds up happening with him. But the other two, they're in the system now. I mean, they've had their initial appearances in court, and I know there'll be a lot of behind-the-scenes negotiation. I wouldn't be surprised to see another deal come out of it, but we also know that there are going to be a lot of other indictments coming down with other people. So stand by, folks. This is getting interesting. It's going to be a long process, and one thing I'd like to add, and I'll stop and turn it over to Diesel, but the thing I want to say is nobody should make assumptions about this, because we really don't know what's out there. We don't know how far this is going to go or what it's going to touch. Right now, this is pretty much very limited on some specific things that they did going back a while. So my point is, people on either side of this shouldn't make any wild assumptions about it. We don't really know what's going to happen. It's not a good thing when the criminal process takes hold. It's obviously serious business, but if it finally gets the truth out, then it's going to be for the good, for the greater good.
And I know Ken is sitting there like a hungry backup quarterback to get in here, because I know how much he's very passionate about this, and I'm holding him off for a reason, because I want that passion when he gets on here and he talks about this real quick, because I know he's burned up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you add, Ken, but then my question for you heading into this also, I want to talk about this whole impeachment talk that's now, it's back in the forefront again. They're talking about impeachment again, and big story is Trump just come out. He was on, I want to say, Meet the Press, and he pretty much threw Jared Kushner under the bus about this so-called Russian collusion, this whole Russian scandal, and he pretty much said, that was Kushner, it's all him, it's his fault, whatever happens, pretty much almost said, his husband. So, and you know what? We already know that Ivanka and Kushner are big Democrats, and that's no secret. And I hate when people think that they're Republicans, because they're not. They're big Democrats. So I'm going to let you, here we go, Ken. You're the pit bull right now, and I'm letting the leash go, man. Ready? Go. Ken? Where are you, man? Where are you, Ken? Ken, you there? Did he get so mad and he knocked himself off the air again?
Uh-oh. Yeah, his light isn't on, so he's not connected at the moment. He's going to have to call back in, or...
Yeah, he's going to have to call back in. Oh, he's here. Well, we can't hear you, Ken, at all. Did you mute your mic or something? Oh, we can see you, but we can't hear you. It's got to be something with his mic. I see that blue line coming up, and we can't hear you, Ken. Oh my God! I wanted that emotion. I got to get him in here. We got to get.
It's just building. Don't worry. We'll get this fixed.
I know. Hold on. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this live on air. I'm gonna take Ken out the call on air right now. End the call with him, and then I'm gonna bring Ken back in here. So I'm gonna remove this person from the group.
All right. Well, I'll talk while you do that for a minute. I'll try to set up the thing. So one of the things that we've got to think about is with Jared Kushner, as Sinista1 is, he's obviously got the family loyalty to the president, but let's look at two things, and we talked about this months ago on the booth. First of all, he had no business working in the White House, neither did Ivanka for that matter. These people are not experienced. They brought nothing to help the president. If you look at all the things, all the challenges that the president had over time, these aren't people who they probably were good personal influences on him, calming influences on him, but they really didn't belong there, and they contributed nothing on the political side, if any, even though to temper him. But I'm going to turn it over to Diesel. It looks like he's ready. Take it away, buddy.
Can you hear with us? Ken? Oh man, Ken, you with us? What's going on? We can't hear you, but we can see that you're here. Can I call your phone? I got to get you in here. I know you're friggin'... You know what? The Republicans or somebody, they're keeping Ken offline. They don't want Ken to talk to us. Ken's that big of a guy that the feds have been listening in, and they've probably, as soon as we turned it over to Ken, they probably pressed that button somewhere in Washington to keep Ken from talking. Ken, can I call your phone, and that way we can get you on? Oh, I heard something there.
You work with Ken. I'll add a couple more thoughts. Keep that out. So the thing is, the president said, it's all Kushner's fault. Well, that's kind of ridiculous because if you think about it, what is he supposed to know? How is he supposed to give the president political advice? He and Ivanka may be Democrats in the sense that they gave money. Who the heck knows what they do, how they vote? Apparently, Jared Kushner's registered to vote twice, once as a man, once as a woman in New York City, so go figure that problem. But the thing is, if they were to leave Washington, it wouldn't make a difference whatsoever to the White House. They contributed nothing.
There you go.
There we go. Okay. Take it away.
Okay. I'm sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Are you on your phone or are you on Skype?
No, I'm on my cell phone.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so let Robert finish up, and then Ken, I'm letting you go.
Take it away. I simply said I made the point that they contributed nothing to the operations of the White House anyway, so who cares if he gets rid of them? It's unfortunate that they're scapegoats because this is not their fault, but, they weren't able to do anything for him anyway because they don't know how Washington works. Go ahead, Diesel.
Okay, let's start off with the fact, and I think we need to bring it back a few steps. Number one, no disrespect to Sinista1, but it wasn't Tony Podesta who got indicted. Tony Podesta... It
was Papadopoulos. We fixed that.
Was it's important because John Podesta's brother, and he ran Hillary Clinton's Oppo shop. And he's in trouble too, but we'll talk about it in a second. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about Papadopoulos as his role and why he's so important, and more importantly, about Jared Kushner's connection. Now, Papadopoulos was basically the bag man for the Russian mob. He's the guy who introduced Trump to all the oligarchs. And basically, he was laundering money for the Ukrainians and that operation. What's important was Papadopoulos and the chief of staff, Trump's first campaign manager. Remember, the first campaign manager was Lewandowski, and he had major real estate holdings in New York. And what he's been accused of doing is basically coming in, buying properties in New York for cash, and then getting a mortgage, and then mortgaging them out. Supposedly the allegation was that he got money from the Russians to buy these apartments. Now, does that sound a little familiar? Like what Trump was doing at Trump Tower 20 years ago?
Mm.
So this is what Mueller's doing is doing this is how they did mob prosecutions. They get a small guy, Papadopoulos, to roll on a bigger guy who rolls on even a bigger guy. Okay? Papadopoulos, the rumor is he wore a wire. The question is, what was he wired up to hear? What conversations were going on? Who had these conversations? And more important, remember the old joke from Watergate was, it's not the crime that gets you, it's the cover-up. Mm. What everyone is thinking now is Papadopoulos got a deal and then went to the Trump administration and said, hey, Mueller and these clowns are coming at me. What are you going to do to protect me? And the rumor is that some of the Trump campaign says, don't worry, we'll cover your ass to go out and lie. And that's the important thing. Remember, even if they didn't do anything wrong, if you obstruct justice or you tell someone to lie to the FBI, even if you've done nothing wrong, that's a federal crime. So that's the big question. And here's the thing. As for getting to Jared Kushner and Ivanka, and I totally agree with R squared, there is no question about it. Those two are professional clowns. They knew nothing about Washington, D.C. They knew nothing about how Washington works. They were brought in as, let me just say, put it politely. How can I put it politely? They were window dressing. Mm-hmm. They were put out there to show that Trump really isn't this troll and that there is some compassion and understanding. They were never policy heavy hitters. They were out there to put a public face, and especially, and I can say this because, and our square can say this, they were out there to keep the Jews quiet. The idea was the New York Jewish community had one of their own inside. And so these radical Republicans were going to be kept in bounds by Jared Kushner, a prominent New York Jew. Okay? And that was to blunt the criticism coming from Schumer. Jared Kushner didn't do that, okay? He failed miserably, okay? And now Trump's throwing him under the bus. Of course Trump's throwing him under the bus. He couldn't care less about this guy. And to a lesser extent, Ivanka's being thrown under the bus, but I say lesser extent because no one expected anything out of her. I mean, she was Trump's daughter, and she's got a cute, tail, and that's about it. Okay? So all I can say is strap yourself in, boys and girls. If you think you've seen everything, you have seen absolutely freaking nothing. Because this is just the appetizer. Okay? This is what federal prosecutors do. They get something they know they can prove, and they set these people out, and this is the equivalent of going to an apartment and turning on the light and seeing the cockroaches flee. That's what Mueller's done. Okay? Mm-hmm. And it's really freaking scary.
So I've got to ask you, like we R-Squared touched on it before we got you back on air, but there's a lot of talk that impeachment word is being thrown around real heavy. And my question to you is, if this talk is real and if it's getting, who do you think is going to be the first person I'm going to ask you both, who do you think that first person is going to be that's coming out of the Republican woodwork to start preaching those words? I say Paul Ryan. I'm going to let you answer first, Ken, and then we're going to go to R-Squared and see his opinion, because he actually disagreed with you.
I think Ron Paul already came out and made this statement on left field that Trump is not going to seek re-election in 2020. Okay? Mm-hmm. So I think you answer the question is I think it's Ron Paul, but I think Ron Paul is already beating the groundwork to Trump that maybe this is not, maybe he should seek life fulfillment elsewhere. Mm-hmm. And I do not think there'll be a resignation, of an impeachment. I think it's a resignation.
I've always felt that. I've always felt that if it comes down to it, he's going to step down. He's not going to allow himself to be impeached because his ego is too big. No. I think he steps down. And are you ready to let R-Squared come back at your disagreement here?
Yeah. Let's stop R-Squared.
Go ahead, R.
Oh, well, I'll touch on impeachment in a minute. I was going to disagree with the comment about Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump being brought in to appease the New York Jewish community. I don't see that. I just don't agree with that. I think that they were brought in because the president has always, for many, many years, surrounded himself with a very close group of family confidants, and that's the role these people were playing for him. They're his lovies. He doesn't like a lot of people. He doesn't trust anybody. And if you look at the way he runs his business, he talks about how he runs this big, corporation, the Trump organization, whatever. We've talked about this on the air before. It's actually a very small organization of a handful of people that are basically his sons, his daughter. Jared doesn't really work for the Trump organization, but he's become, part of the family. And so, that's it. I don't even think they let Tiffany in the building. But, and he's got a couple of people, he showcases them on his apprentice once in a while that he really trusts that have been with him a long time. But you're talking about less than a dozen people that are really working there. And then what they do is they just contract things out when they go and build a building or do something like that. It's all subcontractors. They're not people who work for him, and he screws them over all the time anyways, his business model. So this is not a person who ever surrounded himself with other people. This attempting to build a team in the White House was the first time he's ever had to do that in his life, and he didn't do it very well. He brought in the wrong people. I don't know who recommended them or what he was thinking, but he doesn't know how to do it. He showed he didn't know how to do it, and he's got a bad group of people working around him. I'll save the rest of that for later, but I just think that Jared and Ivanka were brought in because those are the people that can calm him down, because as you know, he constantly flies off the handle, goes into these tirades and needs to be calmed down, and they were the people who could walk into his office, especially before Chief of Staff Kelly took over, and just kind of, talk to him 24/7, including on the weekends, and just calm him down. But even now, I don't think that they're able to do that because they don't have the same level of access, and quite frankly, they're just not effective at doing that outside of Trump Tower. So that's what I think is the failure on their part. If you want to talk about impeachment, if I could just answer that real quick, and then I'll pass the baton back. I don't think it'll be Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan has proven to be, some of my worst fears. When Paul Ryan was first selected to run with Mitt Romney, I thought he was pretty decent. I wasn't going to vote for them, but I thought that Paul Ryan was a good choice, and I thought he was respectable, and I thought that he was trying to do some of the right things in Congress. Granted, he was a fairly inexperienced member of Congress compared to some of the Republicans that have been around for a long time. And then as he became more and more political after the campaign and took over as speaker, now he's nothing but a Trump flunky. And he sacrificed his integrity for whatever he thinks he's going to get in a voting agenda. And so I don't have respect for him. I don't think that he has the integrity to come out and speak honestly about something like impeachment or the president's behavior, because he's refused to do it all along.
Oh, man. Rob, we lost you, Rob. Rob, hold on.
That's how we lost Rob. So I'm not the only one who keeps losing.
How about that?
There you go. You're back.
So I was saying it's going to be John McCain again. Is that where I faded out?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's going to be John McCain again, and I hate to do that because there needs to be more grown-ups in the room than just Senator McCain all the time. But God love him, and I know he's doing it for sad reasons right now, but he's going to be the guy leading the charge and bringing other people along with him. Lindsey Graham, I don't know, he's become a Trump flunky lately, but hopefully he goes back to trying to be more like Senator McCain, and he could lead the charge. He certainly led the charge against Bill Clinton for impeachment, so he knows what he's doing in the impeachment world. So let's see if he steps up with some integrity right now. And Jeff Flake, you can...
Oop, we lost him again.
These are, this is not me. I think the NSC is listening to the booth. They're trying to shut us down.
We can hear you now. Every time you make a good point, it's blanking you out. And Ken said the NSC is watching and
That's right. But, the point is, we're going to have to see who are the grown-ups in the room that are going to step up and do that, because we're at the point now where, and I posted on the booth blog on this, people like Chief of Staff Kelly and others, they owe it to the American people to step up and give us an honest opinion. They can't keep covering for him and enabling this inappropriate behavior. It's time for some honesty to come out, and the Republicans that get on the right side of this have a chance to maintain their integrity and go forward, and the ones that stay on the wrong side of it too long are going to sacrifice their own futures in politics.
Good stuff, man. We're actually at the 4:30 mark. At 4:30, I actually said that we were going to announce how you can win these tickets to see Ginuwine on November 17th here in Brockton at the Shaw Center, the Concrete Entertainment Complex. This event is going to be sponsored by it's actually being promoted by the Concrete Entertainment, Darryl Wright, and it's going to be a big show. And hey, we just got the word too this week that a good friend of Whoobazoo in the booth, our man John David, who was actually on the network, who was on the show in the building that me and Ken, we was on their show for a while there. They were on every now and then. We were on their show in the building. John David, who's a singer, he's been in Boston singing the national anthem a few times. He's actually going to be one of the opening performers for Ginuwine on November 17th, along with Shay Williams, a female artist. So you're going to have two male artists, and this woman, Shay Williams, is going to be sandwiched between the two of them, and she's going to be holding it down, and then Ginuwine is going to come out and hold it down for the city of Brockton. He actually released a promo last week, so what we're going to do here, I'm going to just play this ad real quick, and I'm going to tell you guys real quick how you can win tickets to see Ginuwine here November 17th in Brockton. So let me just cue this up right now.
Concrete Promotions and Entertainment presents A Night Out with Ginuwine. Up close and personal, ballroom style. Friday night, November 17th, 7:30 p.m. Concrete Entertainment Complex at the Shaw Center, 1 Feinberg Way in Brockton, Mass. General admission, standing room only, with VIP seating, VIP bar, and finger food, and plenty of parking available. Ginuwine is coming to Brockton, the city of champions. Friday night, November 17th, 7:30 p.m. Dress codes enforced. No sportswear allowed. Get your tickets now at concretepromotions.com. The Shaw Center, Brockton, and eventbrite.com. More info at 617-391-7181, extension 192.
All right, it's your boy Sinista1 broadcasting live here from the Microsoft store here in the Prudential Center. I got
Coming back in. All right, your boy Sinista1 broadcasting live from the City of Champions. You are listening to The Booth, and we've got Ken back with us, but then we just lost Robert, and these guys are pretty much under the assumption that the NSC is definitely shutting the booth down today. All right, he's here. So, guys, here it is. Ginuwine is
cannot down the truth.
We got Ginuwine coming November 17th. If you are listening to the sound of my voice on this podcast or on Facebook Live right now, we are giving away a pair of tickets, 2 pairs of tickets to see Ginuwine live. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to give 1 pair of tickets away to a male listener. The second pair of tickets is going to be given away to a female listener of the booth. Now, here's how you have to win. It's going to be the same as it was with Silk. You are going to have to upload a video to our booth page on Facebook telling us why you wish to win and hold down these Ginuwine tickets. So, as I said, we're giving away a pair of tickets, 2 pairs, to 2 winners. So 1 male, 1 female, and then what's going to happen is we're going to pick the male winner and the female winner who's going to win their pair of tickets. So as of today, start uploading videos of why you want to win these tickets. Now, we did real good the last time. You guys made it real tough for us to pick the winner. Actually, Silk picked the winner the last time. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to hold it down, and that's how you win. And hey, next week, we have John David coming on the show to chat with us about coming back to Boston. And then we're going to go from there. Obviously, Robert's got an issue with his headset, and I'm just going to. It might be something with interference or when he's moving. We'll figure that out for him. We're going to get that all straight. But
I can hear just fine.
Good. We just want to keep you guys in because we got this show flowing. We touch base on terrorist tech to open up the show. We touch base on Trump and stuff. We've given this winner of what's going to happen here with who's going to win. And let's get back to Ken because Ken's got his emotions still going. This is a story we touched base on about, I want to say, it was about 3 months ago it happened, about 2.5 months ago. There's this nurse in Utah. And here's the thing, and I talk about, and it's funny because all of us here, we read the book 1984, George Orwell. And you know what, the antagonist of that book was Big Brother. And Big Brother in this book was actually the government. And the protagonist in the story was us, the human beings, you know, the people who live their lives day by day. The strange thing is, people, is that here we are, 2017, and we are living in George Orwell's 1984, except Big Brother is not this overseeing government. Big Brother is actually become us, the public, with smartphones. Because you used to have stories and incidents like this, and lots of times it became a he said, she said, or there was no really evidence to back up the story. There was no one, lots of times people don't even want to come forward against cops because of the fear of retaliation. This was one of these things that Ken could tell you years ago. Nobody would ever step up and go against a police officer in the court of law. But smartphones have changed that in all ways. And even though we've had Black Lives Matter and all this stuff, this is a significant case. This was an officer who overstepped his boundaries. He wanted a blood test done. I'm asking Ken this because Ken's a defense attorney. He wanted a blood test done on someone who was either to be questioned or was involved in that. I forget what it was, but this nurse knew her law, and she told this officer, you cannot absolutely have this person's blood, and I'm not giving you his blood. And this officer lost his mind, and arrested this nurse. Now, the video became viral, and because this video has become viral, today, we've found out that this nurse has been settled. They settled with her for the amount of $500,000. And I also believe that the officer in question was also fired. I know Ken is a defense attorney. Again, Ken, are you still with us? Because I'm hearing the dial.
I'm right here, boss.
Oh, okay, I'm hearing the dial tone. You scared me there for a second.
No, I'm right here, boss. I've listened to everything you said with bated breath. I didn't want to cut in, but I'm chomping at the bit here.
And I know you do, and I got to hear you on this because I know you're, like I said, you're a defense attorney. You've dealt with these type of stories about police officers and things like that, and here it is. We have a video. The police officer was definitely in the wrong. I'm just going to let you have it.
Well, absolutely. And everything you said, I totally agree with. Because 10 years ago or 15 years ago, if that woman had made a complaint, I doubt it would make the Utah papers, much less the national papers. And you're absolutely right. We've become Big Brother. I think that's a lot of people in the liberal progressive community, like myself, has said that. My God, Big Brother isn't the U.S. government. Big Brother is little Johnny JoJo with an iPhone camera and a YouTube account.
Mm-hmm.
And it is really strange because not only that, I mean, your children's generation and Rob's nephew and my nephew, they're growing up in a totally different world than you and I grew up with. This idea that you literally share everything, even the most mundane activities. Prime example, my nephew once photographed a bagel he was eating for lunch and uploaded to Snapchat.
I was at Dunkin' Donuts one time, right? And they sold me a wake-up wrap that was bad, and they actually had stamped the date on the wrap, which was wrong. I actually simply took a picture, uploaded it to Dunkin' Donuts. You know how apologetic they were, and they sent me a $5 gift card in the mail. That's how fast it was. So
I know, this is exactly what we're talking about. As for the nurse, I mean, let's go back and replay what happened and what led to that gentleman being taken to the hospital and why the cops wanted the blood work. What happened was there was a police chase. The police were chasing a vehicle. The vehicle then hit an oncoming semi-truck driven by the gentleman who was taken to the hospital. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, the fear was, and the reason the police wanted to take that blood work was to show that the truck driver was drunk. Because they were afraid the truck driver was going to sue the police for doing a high-speed, dangerous chase and endangering his life.
Mm-hmm. That's
why they wanted the blood. And if you remember from the videotape, the woman's on the phone, and she said, it's not hospital policy, and she calls, and I know this because I researched this, the person she's talking to, is a member of the general counsel staff.
Okay.
Her superior calls in one of their lawyers and says, no, don't do that, it's a violation of Utah law. Mm-hmm. And he says, you can clearly hear him say, if the officer has a problem, tell him to come and talk to me. Mm-hmm. He says, I'm making the call. I am telling you not to do it. Okay? Then the officer arrests her and throws her in the squad car. Now, technically speaking, super technical, he never arrested her because he never had the intent to charge her a criminal offense. He took her into custody. And that's an important distinction later in the conversation. He has since been fired. His lieutenant, who told him to arrest her, has been demoted from lieutenant to plain officer. And they ended up paying her $500,000. I frankly think that's a little too little, but that's an issue for another day.
I thought that was a lot. I heard that amount.
No, I think it's... All right, no, what you don't do is that is what we call kidnapping under color of law. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons we give officers, police officers, state troopers, federal officers, incredible power to forcibly detain another human being is because it's understood that they will only do so under clear indication of law or warrant. They see someone committing a crime, an emergency situation. And that's why when officers exceed that authority, the hand of God comes down and slaps them upside the head. So I am not surprised. Now, I think it's disgusting because, yes, I think, unfortunately, 99% of our police officers do a hell of a job under the most extreme circumstances. And since you and I know one very, very well, our former co-host, Frank Sinowski, Z-Man, is a Brockton cop. I wouldn't want to do Frank's job for all the money, for all the tea in China. Okay? It's a miserable, tough job. And it ain't easy. And it's dangerous. Matter of fact, we know he got a gun pulled on him one time, some years ago.
Yeah,
that being said, you got a bunch of cowboy cops out there who should not have a badge, and they need to be gotten rid of quickly. The problem is when someone makes a complaint against them, there's the old thin blue line, the blue wall. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just infuriated because I had this problem all the time here in Brockton. In Massachusetts, the police are not allowed to ask a person to draw blood for investigative purposes without a warrant.
Mm-hmm.
However, if blood is drawn as part of a normal medical procedure, the police can get access to their results.
Right.
Now, for years, what the Brockton cops used to do is go to Brockton Hospital and say, it would really be nice if you drew blood look for this. But we're not telling you to do it, and the doctors would do it as if they were the Brockton cops. That's not so much, that is not happening as much nowadays, because every procedure has got a code and who asked for it and why and is budgeted. That was done for years. So I am just, infuriated about how that woman was treated, but I am not surprised, and maybe this will start showing about how police officers need to be retrained and resupervised.
Wow, Rob, you want to...
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with everything that Diesel just said. I think we've got, an overwhelmingly good police force across the states and then federal systems, and they do an amazing job that most people don't want to do. It's hard, it's dangerous, it gets frustrating to see the criminals getting away with things, and they do a pretty good job. The question is, what do we do about this small percentage that you see that sometimes is quick to use force, especially deadly force, or is quick to sort of exceed their authority sometimes. I have no doubt that some of these officers think that they're doing the right thing because of what they see as an emergency or an exigent situation. Unfortunately, they cross the line. So, I think they're initially probably fairly well trained. I've worked with a lot of great law enforcement officers that try to do the right thing, and they understand the consequences of doing the wrong thing as far as prosecution and other things go. So the question becomes, is it about periodic retraining? Is it about standards enforcement? Is it about the culture? Every profession in our country and in the world sort of has its own subculture. Its ethics, its customs, its things. The right and wrong that you learn from doing the job from the more experienced people. So the question is, we've got to look for a way to help law enforcement change its own subculture to do away with this type of thing, because these problems are very distracting. Obviously, there are individuals who unfortunately get hurt from it, or cases that suffer from it. There's all kinds of things, and so this has to be a partnership. The law enforcement community, as well as those who regulate it, and the political leaders, have to get together and somehow sit down and figure this out, because it can't continue. But I think it has to be a joint effort to fix it. I agree with everything you said there, Diesel.
And I knew he was chomping at the bit, because when we first touched base on this, we talked about officers knowing damn well that they're on camera, and yet they still do these things that we know is just wrong. It's just not right. And she, like I said, like Ken said, she was on the phone with a superior general counsel, and she had the phone on speaker, and this woman was in tears, and it was just scary to see this woman arrested, embarrassed in front of her peers and patients, and it's tough. It's tough, and we keep seeing this, and there's a lot of police stations across the country are paying out these incredible amount of money. It's crazy. Sometimes some of the stuff in the chat that we get is just pretty hilarious stuff. Ken, he said if you go to Austria, it could be full diesel. Now, I got R-squared. We're watching the chat here now. We're doing the show on Thursday. Now, usually on Tuesday nights, we usually do the show. I'm done producing, then I have to go to work at Logan. Tonight is Thursday night. It's my night off. I see R-squared sitting in his chair at home, and I don't know what is that you're drinking. What is that you're indulging in right there?
Having a root beer.
Yeah, right.
It is.
Okay, what kind of root beer? IBC?
Soda. No alcohol.
I'm like, man, he's killing me, because I'm a guy, I don't drink, but I'm like one of these guys that's I'm like a fake drinker. I drink at footballs. I could go the entire year without having a drink. Then football season comes, and the guys will come by and say, "Hey, Keith, you want a beer?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll have a beer." I'm not a big drink guy, And to be honest, the reason why I'm not a drink guy is because as a kid, drinking was a big deal to me. And then when I turned 21, and you go to that bar, and just letting you know, anybody who turns 21, this is the real deal about 21. Yeah, it's a big deal turning 21. You go and you have a few drinks, but guess what? Wait till you get that sticker shock when it's your first time to pay for a tab. And people don't, and people don't tell you about tab etiquette. You showed up to the bar with this $20 in your pocket because you knew you know that moment, like guys, you know, when you went to the bar and you figured out, okay, I can have 4 beers at $5 because I only have $20, and then somebody says, oh yeah, I got the first round, but you don't realize that everybody has to buy a round, and then they come around and they say like it's like R-squared, right? Yo, Rob, it's your turn to get the next round. And you're like, oh, man.
You know, the problem is I'm all good with bar etiquette. I'm happy to buy a round when people are buying me around. But the problem is when I'm in a group, sometimes that's about 10 rounds, and I can't do that anymore.
Ken, I know you get stuck up in that too. Ken, I'm hearing the dial tone again. Can we lose you?
Yeah.
Okay, Ken,
no,
you're
there?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry about that. Unfortunately, when someone calls in, you still there?
We can hear you.
When someone calls in on my cell phone, it knocks off this call and puts it on hold till I get rid of that call. So I apologize.
Oh, okay, well, if you want, we can.
So believe it or not, guess who is trying to call me right now?
Who?
The one person who you would think would know not to call right now. Who would you think that would be? Who would you think that would be? No, not Sinista1. Come on, even better.
Acapella?
No, even better. Come on.
Oh, man, Kevin Tachi.
Oh, God, it's getting colder.
Oh, Jesus. So if it's not Frank and if it's not Mark, then who is it? Tony?
You got it.
He knows he's the owner of Whoobazoo. He knows we go live at 4 o'clock tonight. Why is he calling you?
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like, for God's sake, the one man who should know.
Oh, man.
The one man, he owns Whoobazoo. The one man who should probably know not to call.
We're at 4:51, and when we get to the top of the hour, I think that's when we'll do our little discussion. I'll play some sound bites from when I was at the Xbox reveal for the Xbox One X, and we do have a question. We do have a topic of conversation. Me and Rob actually had a great conversation about competitive gaming, which is where this is all headed. It's big money, and you know.
Well, hold on a second. If I can go back, if I can have my 2 minutes talk about the booze situation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The tab.
Okay. First of all, I'm throwing the BS flag on the Colonel over here.
Uh-oh.
I've been out drinking with Colonel. Colonel and I are both Scotch drinkers. We love Scotch. Okay. And that man, let me tell you, when he came back, I took him out to dinner to celebrate his retirement from the military as a thank you. So we went to a restaurant you know well, Fogo de Chao in Boston. Frank's not a big fan of that, too. And he was pounding back the Scotch like you wouldn't believe. Because I'm the easy retirement guy, no problem. So I don't believe that he was drinking root beer. Okay. Sure.
It looks
maybe root beer spiked with some vodka, maybe.
I save it for after the show.
Oh, that could be an interesting show. You know, like me, I'm not a drinker. Like I said, I'm like a fake drinker. Like people will see me at events, and they'll see me holding the Heineken. I had somebody say to me one time.
Soda.
Here you go. I had one time somebody say to me, "Man, you drink a lot." Because we were at an event. I forget where we were at. And somebody says, "Every time I see you, dog, you got that Heineken in your hand." And I'm like, "Look, I'm going to let you know a secret. I bought that Heineken at the beginning of the night. We're 2 hours in the night, and it's the same Heineken." And they laughed. And they're like, "Oh, damn. Oh, I thought you was a drinker." I'm like, "Nah, I'm a fake drinker. I can make one bottle of Heineken look like I'm an alcoholic from nowhere. Because I will take that one Heineken. Because I'm cheap. I'm not going to lie. I'm cheap. When I go up and I like Heineken. So when I go up to that bar and the bartender says $6.75 for a Heineken when I can get a 6-pack, I'm pissed. I'm mad the whole night that I just paid $6.75 for one bottle of Heineken. So I will suck that Heineken so slow, you could hire me as a porn star for the next 3 weeks. I'm just saying.
Man. So it's not that you have a problem against drinking. You're just a cheap bastard. You want people to buy you drinks.
I just told you that. I told you. I had all types of fun drinking until I had to buy that first round. When I had to buy that first round, man, I was pissed off. I had to go to the ATM inside the bar, pay the $5 ATM fee. Well, it wasn't $5 back then, but it was a lot of money for an ATM fee. And then had to go and buy, in order to buy a round, I had to take money out of the account so I could buy my round. And it was like, man, what? Do I have to do this? Yes, it's bar etiquette, dog. If you're in a group and everybody's buying the rounds, it's your turn. You got to buy a round.
Well, Sinista1, I'm really surprised, not about your cheapness because I don't know you that well, but I can't believe you drink Heineken. You're in the City of Champions. Where's your Sam Adams?
No, I do drink Sam Adams. Nope, he's right. I do like Sam Adams. I love Sam Adams. But I don't like the regular Sam Adams. I only like when they bring out the certain special Sam Adams, like the winter ales, those ones like that. I'm a fan of those Sam Adams. But if I'm out and about, if I'm on a cruise ship or something, or away on vacation, I'm pretty much a Heineken guy. And then a lot of times I'll drink a Corona with a lime. Me and the wife will drink a Corona with a lime. Other than that, I'm not...
The beer of Mexican peasants, please.
What, Corona?
Yes.
That's not a peasant beer. Since when is Corona?
Please, it's the beer of Mexican peasants.
Oh, man, I think you're going to have a lot of Mexicans calling the show pissed off at you for saying that, man. If not, a lot of Puerto Ricans, because a lot of Spanish people drink it. And as far as Scotch goes, I'm not involved in that round. You guys can hold that down. I'm not a heavy alcohol drinker. Oh, good Lord.
There's nothing like a good single malt.
Oh, God. Just hearing the word Scotch makes me sick to my stomach.
Okay, here's the thing. Let me just say this, okay?
Go ahead.
And I've had this debate with people before, and I will say it again, and I'm going to get called out for being a pussy or Eastern elitist or whatever.
Okay.
But there's booze, there's alcohol, and then there are the stuff that men drink, okay? I'm sorry. Beer is something you drank at college frat and got smashed and did worshiping the porcelain god and all this stuff, okay? Alcohol is the stuff you put in the fruity drinks at the
Uh-oh.
Oh, wow, we lost Kent completely.
See, he got cut off because he was about to say something inappropriate over the air. That's what happened.
I hope he wasn't drinking. Hold on, just a chance to bring him back on Skype like he asked. So let's get Ken back on. So I'm going to ask you, Rob, it sounds like you know a lot about your scotches. Now, we have a place here in Boston where it's a distillery where they actually make and age the scotch. And I've never known why the older the scotch, the better the scotch. I know in wines and things like that, but why is it such a big deal? And what makes it so expensive? Why is it so expensive? That
and it's funny. It actually is a very similar process to wine. By preserving it that way and letting it age, the process that converts the ingredients into alcohol and gives it its flavor just enhance over time. Mm-hmm. So you get to a certain point where it's not going to do much better. So it's not like there are some scotches where you get 25, 30-year-old scotches, even more than that, and you'll pay an amazing amount of money for that. I've never done that. Mm-hmm. But most scotches, they're not going to get much better after the initial aging process that they're made for. So, sometimes you get like a 12, 18, 21-year-old scotch. Those are pretty good. And if you can afford the older ones, all the power to you. But it's just allowing the process to finish and enhancing it gives some of that more quality, rounding out the flavors.
Oh, you still there?
I'm still here.
Okay. So see, I see it all the time. Like this. Like I said, there's a place here in Boston. I'm trying to get the name of the place down. To remember it, but we went there. Next time
I'm there, I got to find it.
Yeah, and they have nice labels, and the place is all old, like pier wood. It's like an old distillery. It's a pretty decent place, and I'm trying to get Ken here. I'm going to actually try to work his Skype. So, real quick, hey, we have the top of the hour coming up here, but I'm going to let you talk about your Giants real quick. What's going on with them? Because we're going to talk about the Eagles, too. So let's get you in.
It was nice the Giants got that first victory against Denver. Apparently, Denver overlooked them, and now the Giants got to rest up over a bye week. It's interesting. I think that there's a good chance that they'll win a second game during the season at some point. They'll come across some unsuspecting team, but unfortunately, even a bye week, the amount of injuries they have are just so severe, season-ending ones for a lot of people, that they're just not going to have the personnel back to do it. It looks like Sterling Shepard will be back this season, which will be good. Let Eli Manning have a decent target to throw to. But if you saw the news in the last week or so, apparently before the deadline came, the Giants were actually thinking about trading Eli Manning to give him a chance to go somewhere and I guess finish out his career in another couple of years with somebody who's contending for a championship. So that tells me that the Giants are seriously going to look at rebuilding for the rest of this year, starting some really young players like they've been doing at wide receiver and the offensive line, and seeing what they can do and looking at some draft picks over the next couple of seasons. So the Giants' leadership is pretty much indicating that don't expect them to win a Super Bowl in the next few years. They're going to be focusing on some rebuilding, and that's what they need to be doing. They need to be drafting Eli Manning's replacement, give him a year or two to learn before he can be expected to lead the team into the playoffs. They've got a good wide receiver core if they can keep them healthy, but there's no offensive line, and they've got to shore up a little bit of defense. And speaking of the defense, got a couple more suspensions for some disciplinary issues. So, the Giants are having a bad season, and they know they're not going to go to the postseason this year. But I respect the coaching staff there for saying, look, we're not going to take this crap. We're going to stay disciplined. We're going to stay focused. We're going to build on this. And I like that they're holding the players' feet to the fire. And if you notice, the players are supporting the coaching staff. They're sort of admitting that there are some problems and they need to deal with it. So I like how the team is staying together. I think they've accepted their fate. It's unfortunate for we fans that wanted to see something more this year, but if we can just be patient for a season or two, I think we'll see some big improvement.
All right, so what we're going to do, good stuff, man, 5:01, we're going to take a quick break, top of the hour. I'm actually going to get a song on for us right now, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get Ken Diesel back in here. He's backing up, and I'm going to try to get him in on Skype. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play some stuff from our event here, so you guys can hear those and get you into those. What these are the interviews from this past week, Xbox One X. This was the unveiling, the special party that they had at the Microsoft store. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play these for you. We got a customer quote. We've got an interview with Major Nelson. It's a nice little interview with me and Eliza, who was the Microsoft rep there. And then there's another discussion about Windows Mixed Reality. So this is about it's about 10 minutes. So what we're going to do is top of the hour. You listen to Whoobazoo.com. And here we go with the Xbox One X preview from the Microsoft store. And I'm going to get these guys back in here and ready to go. All right, here we go.
Spacey, once again, my behind whooped a little bit. It's real. This is good. 4th and 7. This is true.
The graphics, not a good experience.
It's good. It's crisp. I can't complain. I played on the 1S, and honestly, as I did, I'm not exaggerating. It's more than what I expected.
You pre-order it?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Yeah, Dave.
Dave? All right, man. How long have you been gaming?
I don't know. Probably over 15 years.
I'm here with Eliza.
Hi.
So we're just going to do this raw. This is much
great.
better. It's bad. Did your mother know you talk like that?
What? I said that's great.
Yeah. All right. Never mind. So introduce yourself. Let them know who you are. Why are we here?
I'm Eliza. I do community development for Microsoft in Boston. And tonight we're doing this very cool pre-launch party called the Road to Xbox. You guys saw Major Nelson earlier. And we're just letting people play the Xbox One X for the first time in Boston.
Now, let people know what's going on. I already know the reserve dates and all that stuff, but just let the people know that are watching what's going on here, when they can reserve, what's available. I know I saw the Project Scorpio, and I saw on Best Buy that we could still put orders in for Project Scorpio, but I'm hearing it is sold out.
It's sold out in pretty much every store. Honestly, if you find them, let me know, because I'm interested in pre-ordering one. But you can get on some wait lists at Microsoft stores. If you call a Microsoft store, check their stock. But on the 7th, we'll have some Xboxes ready to order. And then 2 days after that, we'll have a few more. So,
okay. Do we have an idea of how many colors that this Xbox One X is going to be available in? Do we know that yet? Or
right now, just the black. Just the black. Yeah. Nice and sleek. Matte black.
Nice. it's a lot, and if you guys notice, the Xbox One X is very sleek. One of the things that they did when the S came out, they cut that size down dramatically. And what are some big changes between the S and the X as far as power?
Great question. Yeah, it's got a brand new chip. When you talk to Major Nelson, he might have showed it to you. It's a little chip that superpowers the Xbox. It can run true 4K gaming. It's the only gaming console that has that. It's just more powerful with, I believe, I could be wrong about this honestly, but I think it's got 16 gigs of RAM, which is pretty amazing for a gaming console.
Nice. So we're gonna take us some more questions, guys. If you want to drop some questions in the chat for Eliza or Major Nelson, we'll get these questions to them. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna walk around, maybe see some people. We're gonna go back and check out these guys who are playing Forza. And my son, actually, Ryan, Tyreek, and Terrell, they're all out there watching. What's up? Get these guys in. Okay, we'll be back.
Hello.
As you guys can see, this is Major Nelson. Look at these rocking that royal blue.
Are we doing something? You and me? What are we doing here today? Look, over here. We got Xbox One X back here. How's our show now? I don't want to look at us.
There's a Xbox over here. See those two guys right here playing Forza Motorsport 7, 4K 30.
So that's kind of what's going on.
Up here and guessing big announcement for Xbox original games. Yep. And now they'll be available in the Xbox store to download. Yep. Look, I got a steel Italian controller sitting on my basement.
Well, I would love them. There's a lot of issues with that one. I can't say it will or won't. I have to talk to that. Those guys, trust me, if we can make it work, we will.
I love that controller. Yeah, I love it. Crimson Skies is also one of the best. That's one of my favorite games. I was right. Awesome, right?
That was a fun one. That was the one where you had two groups of I had four, you had four, were squads. I love that game. Yeah, I miss that. You know what's going on with that one? I know the people want to do it just like the 360. They want to do it.
Now, when they release a blitz, like they did with the 360 games, they release that and update that every so often.
That's our goal.
Right? So you have Xbox in the next year. Looks lucky. Turn around. So one of the questions I have here, I already have an Xbox One. What are the advantages of moving up and down the Xbox One?
One of the advantages is that you have a 4K. A lot of the games you already don't get that. So think of it that way.
I feel that that is the way
I mean, that's obviously we want to do that. You're not setting yourself to see what you want. You want to be able to be able to do that content. There's also something special about you coming down and doing us talking in front of a game store. Right? That's all about game and set. Right? So you got to figure out the right thing. I don't want to create a world of sitting at all these downloads. That's great. You also want to come down and talk to fire old enough to remember you can do visual. Right? We have a game store. Yeah. Got great hands. We're very happy with it. I remember when they had now we're, many times.
Major Nelson, he's going to do the walk around. Great stuff. I'm trying to get my co-host in here, Robert Resnick. For some reason it says Robert Resnick cannot join a live video. So there's got to be live videos here. I'm showing you people that friends are calling the show from time to time, guys. It's only live. Sad, but they're calling the show. We debate about digital download. Oh, yeah. All the time. Anything to say there?
Physical releases all the way.
Totally.
tattoo for no reason.
Well, I just added for Steel Battalion respect. That's one of my favorite games.
Red Faction original. Red Faction 1 has to go backwards to that. That's a big one.
Yeah, we got a whole mess of people here. Skaggy, what's going on? Travis Connington, what's going on? Will LeBlanc. How's it going? You're watching Sinista1 here on Facebook Live. Host of the Boots, Tuesday night, 7 to 9 p.m. You can see we're here through Microsoft Store. We are just holding it down, holding it down. You want to just give a description of exactly what he's doing for our viewers?
It's actually doing mixed reality, so it's a mixture between virtual reality and augmented reality. It's playing a game called Super Hot. It's pretty self-explanatory. Instead of putting you in a virtual scene, it kind of puts you into, like, it can scan, like, your actual setting. So it can put you in, like, a realistic setting versus virtual setting. So it's kind of, it's a combination between both.
Alright, so let me give you... And this carpet, is this the size of the space?
So the space does have like certain dimensions, but it can be larger than the space right here. Yeah. So it can be your living room space, your bedroom space, something like that. But you do need a gaming PC to run it.
Okay. I see the Xbox Connect. Yep. Right there. Is this available now, or is this...
Yes, we have a bunch of headsets back there, and we have the prices on them as well.
Alright, it's your boy Sinista1 broadcasting live here from the Microsoft store here in the Prudential Center. I have Elijah with me. I'm going to have her talk to you guys because I just found out that there are some events that go in here pretty often here at the Microsoft store, and I wasn't even aware of this, but I want to let her talk about it and let you guys know, and maybe you guys can come down here. They actually have an event this Saturday coming up, and I'm going to let her talk about turn over to Elijah.
Sure. What's up, guys? So this Saturday is our final Gears of War 4 Pro Points tournament. You enter a tournament, form a team, win some Pro Points, win some Gears rec packs. It starts at noon at Microsoft Store in the Prudential Center in Boston. And then every other Saturday we have League of Legends tournaments at 3 p.m. We have a full house, usually 30 to 40 people playing League. Yeah, it gets pretty crazy. And then every Monday night we have Madden tournaments and free play.
That's awesome. I like this. So during Monday Night Football, you're down here, you can play Madden, and it's free.
We play the game on the big screen, too. We get over 100-inch TV screen that we play the game on, so it's pretty set up.
Come check that out on Monday night. That sounds pretty good. That'd be good on a no-school night. And what else do you guys have that you do here, outside of Xbox and gaming, too?
Yeah.
I know the Surface had their big release just come out also.
Yes. We do launch parties for most of our other hardware, and then we do regular Windows and Office workshops for consumers here. We also have an event space here that we let businesses and nonprofits use for free. They need to have a meeting with a big screen. And you can check out our event schedule at Microsoft.com/Boston.
Now, I'm going to ask you this right now, and I'm going to put you in the spot. Here I am with my reliable laptop.
Yeah.
Which I usually do remotes and stuff. Explain to me why maybe I should think about switching to a Surface.
I use a Surface for work, and I have a separate Surface for personal use. I'm super into it. There's 4 different form factors. The Studio, which is a giant desktop, great for art. The laptop, which is a really light and portable touchscreen stylus laptop that comes in 4 different gorgeous colors. We got the Surface Pro, which is a tablet laptop hybrid. Will help you attach a really solid warranty that prevents accidental damage causing you big trouble, and we'll even help you set it up here in the store.
Okay, so I could transfer any of my apps over. Most of my stuff that's in Windows 10 now that I have for apps over. Like I have a subscription to Office 365, which I love.
Yeah.
The best thing out there.
Microsoft will help you installing programs, transferring over data. And just if you've never used Windows 10 before, we'll sit down with you and show you how to use it.
Okay, and my last question for you.
Yeah.
I see the custom controllers over there. Can people come down here and order their custom controllers instead of doing it online?
You will end up having to do it online, but we have a bunch of example controllers that you can check out at the store in Boston and stores all over the country. You can check it out, and we'll help you walk you through doing it online on one of our computers here.
Okay, so I'm going to go Facebook Live and you can see those controllers. All right, thank you very much. All right, that was live from the Microsoft store last Tuesday night in Boston at the Prudential Center. As you heard during some of these interviews, they actually have weekly tournaments there on Saturdays and Monday nights during football season. So I'm thinking about trying to get down there maybe around playoff, just before playoffs. I think when it's real hot and heavy, I think we're going to head down there and maybe do a Monday night, do some videotaping. We're not going to be on air. I think we're just going to tape some stuff and get some audio, and maybe I can get Ken to play some Madden with me against some people there in store, and we can go that route. I might bring the ringers. I might bring both my boys with me, but as you heard, we interviewed Major Nelson, who's a big, big guy for Xbox Live and the Xbox games. As you heard, the Xbox One X is going to be one of the most powerful gaming systems out there. And from what you heard from the interviews, it comes out, the release is due at the end of this week. And, it's about $499. It's going to change the industry as we know it. Xbox is sinking a lot of money into this. They've got a lot of things coming out. Microsoft has been in the gaming industry for a long time now. And, we touch base on some of these things that are coming down the pipe about competitive gaming. And one of the conversations that we had pretty deeply in our chat between me and Robert, we talked about competitive gaming growing, and a lot of people are unaware that this phenomenon of competitive gaming has grown so big to the point where the Call of Duty championships last year for 2 years in a row, the Call of Duty championships is outsold and it's outrated the NCAA tournament, and the NCAA men's basketball tournament. Now, for those who know, that's a big market. That's a lot of money. That's a lot there. But you've got these arenas that these places are renting, Call of Duty, League of Legends, Overwatch. Bob Kraft actually just bought a competitive gaming team here in Massachusetts for Overwatch. The money that these guys are making, because most of these teams are teams of 4, and they're splitting the till. And let's take like a game and some of these teams like FaZe, and they're getting millions and millions of dollars from sponsors like Red Bull, Alienware, 7-Up, Mountain Dew, all these crazy sport drinks, NOS and stuff are paying these guys millions and millions of dollars. 2 years ago, they actually had an incident where a team was stripped of their title because they used PEDs, and you're going to say to yourself, PEDs in competitive gaming, how do you cheat in competitive gaming? Guess what? These guys were taking, and I forget the drug, and I mentioned it to R Squared, but what it does is it allows them to concentrate this drug, and when they found out that they were on it, they were stripping guys of their titles. But it's big money, and it's coming. The days of telling your kid that you can't make money playing video games is done. Mark Cuban is involved. Rick Fox is involved. These kids are making a ton of money playing video games. But R Squared, he feels differently. He feels, he says he's had fun competing playing video games. I know me and Ken have been on Xbox 360, but Ken's been too cheap to buy an Xbox One, so I'm playing on Xbox One by myself. And I'm playing these military games where I could use Ken's help, where you get these good, because sometimes playing with kids online, kids get sidetracked. They want to do all these other things. They don't want to hit the objectives. They want to try to find all these. I just want to play a good game and squat up and just play. So I'm going to let you guys.
Hold on a second. I got to call you out there. Okay. First of all, I want you to know that while you were talking, guess what Microsoft sent me?
What's that? A coupon
for a last chance to pre-order the world's most powerful console. Literally, the Xbox One X ad came in just as you were talking. Now, if I had bought the Xbox One, I then would now have to buy the Xbox One X. So I saved my money so I can buy an Xbox One X. So I'm one spot ahead of you.
Oh, my, does that sound like a defense attorney excuse to cover up right there? Robert, I'm going to ask you right now, does that sound like a defense attorney cover up right there?
Well, it certainly does. The facts happen to line up in his favor, so.
Oh, my God. If you get an Xbox One X, Ken, I'll buy you your first game. Here we go. That's on. I'll buy you your first game.
I might just to force you cheap little bastard, to buy me a gift.
He knows I'm going to hate spending that $60. He knows I'm like, damn, Ken, you got me.
I'll choose a game, and he'll go out to every GameStop or every store looking for a used copy of it. I know that's.
No, let's be real here. I know, and Zach Cassell, who was in one of these interviews here, who calls into the show, we have a big debate. I have not bought a physical gaming disc since the Xbox One came out. Because me and my boys are big into digital downloading, and Xbox has this deal now. When you have a family Xbox Live plan, there's no need to buy a disc because I buy a digital download copy. It's downloaded right to my Xbox at midnight. There's no waiting in lines for the game. On Black Friday, the game is right to the game. It's downloaded. Plus, Xbox allows you to game share with one person. So if I buy the new Call of Duty, which comes out next week, as a digital download, my son Tyreek also has access to that game. When you buy a disc, he doesn't have that access. Now you're buying 2 discs or 3 discs for each person to play. Digital downloading takes that away, and it saves you a ton of money. So say like you have a friend that you find on Xbox One that you trust. You buy a game one month, and then this person buys a game the next month, and you both have that game, but you're building your library, and you're saving $50-$60 at a whack. And like I said, I haven't bought a physical copy of a game on Xbox One.
This is how he's being cheap. Now I understand. It wasn't he wanted me to go online with me. He wanted to go out and say, hey, why don't you buy this month's copy? I'll buy next month's copy.
No, I can't.
That's what he's doing.
I can't. I actually can't do that with you. You have to find someone to do it. I'm already doing it with my son Tyreek. You can't switch up. Once you find that person, you stay with that person. Yeah, you can stop that later on, but no, if you did that, you would have to find somebody that you know that plays. So like Z-Man, you would probably have to talk to Z-Man and say, hey, Z-Man, why don't you go get an Xbox One X, and then you and Z-Man.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how you would have to do it. Yeah, because I'm already game
The only person cheaper than you is Z-Man.
You gotta have somebody in your family that has an Xbox One X that's coming. You gotta have somebody that...
Yeah, but they'll take my... Oh, I told you about my cousin, the accountant who got a scholarship playing NBA basketball. Did I tell you about him?
No.
All right, I'll kick my ass.
So have him get one.
I can have. Almost... here I go again. There's only so much damage to my ego that I can take. Thank you very much.
So we talked about this thing with competitive gaming, and I was telling R Squared, it's a moneymaker. It's crazy money, and he was like, wow, he was kind of surprised. But he has his thoughts on this whole thing about. We actually went back and forth about. He was saying, well, that's not a sport. And I'm like, but in my opinion, it is. It's like when people say NASCAR is not a sport, or they say golf is not a sport.
It's not a sport.
What's not a sport? NASCAR or competitive gaming?
NASCAR.
And
there's golf. I golf. Why do you say that?
How is golf not a sport, guys?
I didn't say it wasn't a sport. I only talked about competitive gaming not being a sport.
What about NASCAR?
Those are debates for another time.
Okay, so let's table that. Okay, that's a good one. NASCAR, golf. But right now we're talking about competitive gaming. I'm going to let R Squared get in here and talk about it, and then Ken has R Squared, where'd you go?
I'm right here.
Okay, you're on my screen. You're not there. So you had something you wanted to say about competitive gaming. You were going in a good direction. I had to stop you and say, save it for the air, man.
Oh, well, no, I mean, when you and I were talking about this last week in preparation, my point was nothing against video games. I think it's a great way to take a break, to enjoy some leisure time, to whatever. My concern is 2 things. Number one was the number of people that can't control their video, because these games are so sophisticated now that it takes hours and hours and hours to really learn how to play and to get good. And so the problem that you have is people are starting to neglect work, school, and family, and for some people that becomes a problem. That's a personal problem for them. They've got to deal with it. Specific to competitive gaming, my thought was, again, it's a market-based thing. If the market supports it, the market supports it. I personally, I'm astonished at the amount of money involved in that. And to be fair, because I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, I think the salaries for many professional athletes are inflated too. I think that's a problem for society to take a look at. So, quite frankly, this shouldn't be surprising because we're following the same pattern we follow with other things. If it's not something that comes out of tax dollars and public service, for some reason the market can throw millions of dollars at it. But if it's something important like protecting our families and teaching our kids, all of a sudden there's no money. So it's an example of some of the warped priorities we have in society with the amount of money that's coming in. But specific to the issue of whether it's a sport, look, I don't doubt the amount of hours and practice and dedication that these people put into getting to this level of proficiency in the games. No doubt whatsoever about that commitment. However, my definition of a sport would not include video gaming. I mean, if you think about it, there are a lot of video games that depict sports. If you were going to play the sports, you would play the sports, but instead the video games are a depiction of the sports for people who don't play them or can't play them or whatever. So, I just think that if you look at the definitions, you've got to sit there, you've got to stay alert, you've got to, avoid damage to your fingers, but it's not a physically exerting thing like sports are. And part of the definition of sports is that whole physical exertion and exercise and practice of a skill set, a physical skill set as well as a mental skill set. And I understand some of that can apply to video games, but I don't think it applies fully enough to consider them a sport. I just don't get that.
And the question I have for you that came up in this debate, and I was telling you why a lot of these kids are now heading towards video games and parents are approving of it, is because of the concussion theory, the concussion stuff that's going on. A lot of parents, I know here, Pop Warner football, I know hockey, soccer is one of the worst, and it's been kept quiet, but concussions for young kids has really taken a toll. I know Pop Warner took a big hit. They almost lost 2 weeks on their season. The Pop Warner they lost 2 major settlements because of kids who committed suicide, and they've linked it to CTE. And the government was looking for Pop Warner to take away 2 weeks off their season, which is already pretty short. So a lot of parents are turning to these video games for an outlet for their kids, sport-wise, because of concussions. So it is pretty crazy. Ken, did you have a comment you wanted to drop in here?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I have a problem. Here's the thing. I think gaming is an activity along with playing pool or chess or darts. It's more intellectual than it is physical. There is some, physicality with regarding to moving your thumbs and dexterity. But I think there's a big difference, and I'll throw golf in the mix of activity as well. But I think sports I agree with you. They're the more physical nature. You've got skiing, skating, hockey, football, basketball, baseball. I guess you could put on the borderline because, yes, you're technically out there being physical, but you're very sedentary until someone hits the ball. Except for the pitcher and the catcher, most people on the baseball diamond aren't doing a lot. So baseball is questionably a sport. I do think, however, that I think we're being overly pedantic, maybe narrow-minded what we define as sport. There's no question.
Here's my question to you. Then why are they getting paid millions of dollars to play poker? It's a sport.
Hold on a second.
Yep.
There is no question that we have a lot of activities that are competitive in nature that are not necessarily overly physical. Okay, that's fine. That's great. Chess. I'll take chess, for example. Chess would hardly be considered a sport. Yet it's in certain circles, it is super competitive, and there's a lot of money to be made at the very senior level.
Wasn't chess part of the Olympics at one time? I remember.
It was. It no longer is.
Summer Olympics, right?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
But, there are a lot of competitive activities. I think we should use the broader term I like to refer to as competitive activities, which I think are good. In my high school and there are certain colleges, there are math clubs where you would compete mathematics, or debate societies that were very competitive. They weren't athletic, but they were still competitive, and required a lot of intellectualism. And I put that into gaming. Gaming is more cerebral. As much as I'd like to bemoan the fact that, all these shoot-up games are, ridiculous waste of time, it does require a lot of dexterity, a lot of planning, a lot of coordination, a lot of teamwork.
Yeah, there is strategy involved. I was surprised at how much strategy is involved in these military games.
Was it Gears of War we played, and we were in a squad, and it took a lot of us, not only to move as a team, which was very difficult for me.
Yeah, Gears of War is one of those ones that, you have to utilize your cover and stuff like that, and you do have to put your guys. What's different about Gears of War is that the Call of Duties is that Call of Duty, everybody can be a shooter. In some of these other games, like Gears of War stuff, you can assign somebody who's a sniper, and that person's is a sniper. Now that changes the whole aspect. Now you do have to talk, you have to strategize, you have to think about it. Right. So then that's where some people will say, well, there's your sport part of it right there, because you have to strategize.
Yes, I agree. But that again, that's an issue for another day. Getting to the issue of whether, our kids are not playing enough sports and activities, I think
Look, I'm sorry, sitting someone in front of a television for 8 hours a day is a stupid idea regardless of what they're doing, whether they're gaming or watching TV. They need to go out and do more exercises, and I'm sorry. I think people should be concerned about concussions, but I think we've really gone out of our way. I know, like, for example, my nephews, they play soccer. Up until, I think it's Division 3, which is like 8th grade, they're not allowed to headbutt the ball for fear of concussion. Okay? I think that's absolutely ridiculous. And the fear was explained to me is a lot of the times they're afraid the kid's going up and is missing the ball and colliding with each other, hitting each other's heads. All right, a reasonable fear, especially in developmental brains with no helmet or headgear. But, again, my humble opinion. But that's an issue for another day as well.
Well, again, like we talked about concussions, not just concussions. I know baseball's under fire. They had 3 kids that I know of this year across the nation who took hits to the chest and died from cardiac arrest. That's another new topic that's popping up in baseball regarding Little League. Do all the kids have to step up to the plate with chest protectors now? When they're up at bat, is this going to be the new thing? Are they maybe come up with a uniform where you have chest padding built into the chest pads, not something that's overly bulky that allows them to swing. But I mean, there's going to be some company that's going to sew pads into that chest where it doesn't look like it's obscure. And they're going to make a ton of money off it because we do have you do have to have this issue. There's nothing worse than having a kid go down in the middle of the field in Little League and die from a cardiac arrest at the age of 10 or 7 or whatever. It's scary, and I wouldn't wish that on any parent whatsoever. Again, this is where you don't want to shut the sport down and have nobody play because unfortunately it happens. But we'll figure it out. Good discussion. NFL, man, before we went off to the top of the break, our squid was talking about those Giants. But the NFC East right now has so much news in it that they could carry the NFL itself. Just last night, Ezekiel Elliot, his suspension is going to go through. It's effective immediately, which means he's not playing this week. The Cowboys are they're coming off a big win. I think it was like 33-10. I think the final score was this past weekend. They won big, but then they got shot right down by losing Ezekiel Elliott. It's going to be real tough for them to win games without him. And that really changes. That was one of the things that changed that perspective of the NFC East. But another big thing happened was Jay Ajayi of the Miami Dolphins was shipped off in a trade at the deadline to the Eagles, who are like the Patriots right now of the NFC. Carson Wentz is just playing out of his mind. They got LeGarrette Blount running the ball. Now you've added Jay Ajayi to that mix. While you already have a wide receiver core that's just killing them, and you're in that division, Rob. What do you think about that? That's to add that type of because you talk about depth, and here we are. The Eagles are stacking up. They're making their push for the playoffs right now.
The Eagles, I give a lot of credit to their general management team. This is the year to do that because Dallas, as we talked about earlier in the season, this may not be a Super Bowl year for them, and with Ezekiel Elliott out for what's going to be just about the rest of the regular season, it's going to be tough for Dallas to win enough games to get home field advantage. They may make the postseason, we'll have to see, but they're not going to be at their most competitive. And of course, the Giants are out of it. We know that. So this is from a Giants perspective. Go for it, Eagles. Anybody who beats Dallas is fine with me. And then Washington, they still got their problems. So this is not like the Redskins were going to win the division this year. So all the power to the Eagles. I think picking up Jay Ajayi was a great move. I don't know exactly how they're going to split carries between he and Blount because Blount's been doing a great job for them. Mm-hmm. But you've got Blount who's going to be a power rusher going forward, and Ajayi that's going to be more of a flash runner. I think that's going to really open up the running game, and that's going to help Carson Wentz get the ball to the receivers more too. So, well,
here's the thing too. We know when LeGarrette Blount was up here, he was more of a running guy, up the middle guy. He wasn't much of an outside guy. I could see Jay Ajayi being that guy where they could get those dump passes off to that left or right outside and bring him in for those type of plays. The question is how do you hide it and not let defenses make your plays stale? I think it's a huge threat. I think the Eagles are really shooting for the playoffs right now. Yep. I like I said, I've got them now to take the NFC overall. I would have liked Green Bay, but with Green Bay losing Aaron Rodgers and stuff, the Eagles are my pick to take the NFC hands down. And how crazy would that be if the Pats do survive this season and make it to the Super Bowl? You would have the Patriots and the Eagles in the Super Bowl as a rematch, and Justin Timberlake is doing the friggin'. And this goes back to a whole nother topic that we're going to be talking about after we get into our picks. This whole thing about possible Illuminati and sports being, is it human spirit or is it fixed? So, Ken, your thoughts on the Eagles?
Well, you know something, the Eagles are the team that nobody was talking about, and if you had asked me at week 1, will we be talking about the Eagles being not only the head of the NFC East, but have the best record in football on week 8 or week 9, I would have called you crazy. Well, I'm eating my words, okay? And of course, here's the other thing, it's no secret, I had a huge man crush on my man Blunt. I called him Blunt Force Trauma when he was in New England. He is tearing up the turf. He is, dragging tacklers, offensive linemen, defensive linemen. Hell, he'll drag the mascot down the field if he can gain a couple extra yards.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I really think that the Philadelphia offense, and here's the other thing, and I don't think this gets enough airplay, and I don't think the Eagles get enough credit for this, is their secondary. Mm-hmm. It's a no-name secondary. People you've never heard of, guys who are making probably the league minimum, are just shutting everybody down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, who are these guys, and where were you hiding them for the past 4 years?
And they just grabbed somebody from San Francisco to beef up that secondary even more.
Yes, they did.
So, I'm worried about Philadelphia, because first of all, they're healthy. They're probably the only team in the NFL that's healthy. Only have lost anybody yet.
Yeah, they have. They had a real ugly injury last week. They've lost a lot of linemen, which has been quiet. Yeah, they've lost a lot. Losing a lineman isn't a big as news as losing a wide receiver or a quarterback. But Eagles have lost, I want to say, 3 offensive linemen already. So they have. It's just not. It's not news.
Well, all right, so I didn't that much to my bad. But yeah, Eagles are for the NFC East, the NFC General, and right now, unless someone else can turn up I don't even know else being on top of the Super Bowl. What do we got?
I'm sorry. I foresee them taking the NFC Championship. I can't see anybody right now beating those Eagles. Nope, I don't. Like I said, Green Bay was my only other choice, and they lost Aaron Rodgers. I can't see anybody else. I think this is the Eagles' year, and it's theirs to lose if they can stay away from that injury bug, in my book. So, all right, so before we get into our picks, let's talk about the big trade that went down between the Patriots and the San Francisco 49ers. The Patriots ship off, and if he can throw the ball and perform out there, he is going to be a star. He's got the looks. He's headed out to San Francisco, Hollywood, the lights, the glare, the cameras. Jimmy Garoppolo was here. He was the sweetheart here. All the women loved him. But guess what? Those looks and stuff, they don't benefit him in New England. Here he was just Tom Brady's backup. Okay? Now he's going to head over to San Fran. He's going to take over that San Fran offense. If he starts winning, he can write his own ticket. He's got the looks. He can really make a name for himself. He can make a ton of money. We talked about this in the chat. At first, Robert thought that we really didn't get much for him here, because we only got a second-round pick, and then there was something else to be announced. There's another to be announced coming in this trade, but we did bring back Brian Hoyer, and we also got the Niners' second-round pick for this year coming up. Now, the Niners, here's the thing. Garoppolo could ruin this for the Patriots, because he could go out there and throw the ball and put them on a winning streak, which means that they would go up in the draft. Right now, they haven't won a game, and the Patriots would be looking at the 32nd pick of the overall draft, which isn't bad. If Garoppolo goes out there and starts winning, who knows where we're going to end up in that draft selection. But much better than if we finish with a Super Bowl win. But again, I wasn't surprised by the trade because so many injuries have happened to people in the NFL. It was bound to happen. When we gave up Kobe Brissett, we knew this was coming. Ken, your thoughts? Because I wasn't surprised by this move.
I was surprised, frankly. I think my fear was they were going to trade Malcolm Butler. That's who I was looking for them to trade.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really surprised because at the time they made the trade, things have changed. We didn't have a backup quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
We got rid of Brissett. Edelman was out for the season, and now we're getting Garoppolo, who I believe, or guess maybe a lot of people believe, that he was the heir apparent to Brady.
Yes, yep, I've said that many times.
But apparently it looks like they had this on the radar for a while. They were going to have to put a franchise tag on Garoppolo at the end of the season. They wanted to keep him at $22 million, and that would blow the salary cap. So I think, in hindsight being 2020, it was a good move for the Patriots. It was a great move for Garoppolo because, unfortunately, he's a great guy, but he's been in Brady's shadow and will remain to be so for the next couple of years. I don't think he's going to make that much of a difference in San Francisco. They are a broken team. And he's a great passer, and can command that offense, but first of all, they don't have an offensive line, number one. What do they have for running game? Who do they have for receivers who can really, pound out your yards after a catch? I think that's a team to watch over the next couple of years, but right now, I don't expect any miracles. They may win a game, though. I'll give them that.
Robert, your thoughts on it, even though it is the Patriots and San Fran?
Nothing to add. I was initially surprised at the timing of it because, if something does happen where Brady goes out for a game or two, I don't know that Hoyer is ready to step in. He might be at some point, but there's not a lot of time left in the season. So the timing was somewhat suspect to me. Why give up your only backup at this point in the season when the Patriots are looking pretty good for the postseason and who knows what's going to happen. But other than that, it looks like a decent move. San Francisco's not going to do too much this year, so they're not going to threaten the draft pick, but good move for them for the future, I suppose.
I can actually kind of answer that question. Before Garoppolo was that guy that we thought was heir apparent, the person he was battling back and forth with was Brian Hoyer, was one of those guys. And he was one of those guys that pretty much just edged out Brian Hoyer for that spot for backup quarterback. Brian Hoyer was actually one of the original guys to be that so-called heir apparent to Brady, but they shipped him off. So this is a guy, they brought him in. He knows the system here. And that's a guy that if Brady was to, let's say, go down, Brian Hoyer knows this system. They're comfortable with him going in and taking these reins of running this offense. So that's a good thing. The only other thing I worry about is that, we're into week 9 and, this injury bug has been unmerciful to teams in the NFL this year. This every week it's like, who is going to go down? It's just every week somebody has lost a major player, and you look down the list of people who are done for the season, and it's not like your usual year. This year you've got big names, Aaron Rodgers. You've got guys that are just they're Iron Men. Guys that you never would see go down are going down. It's just a crazy season. The Patriots are knock on wood, they're real lucky right now. The Pats did lose Dante Hightower last week. He's out for the season. Hogan went down, but he's questionable, so he may play. It did look bad, his injury, but I got to go back to this guy who was injured in the game. I want to say the Cleveland Browns game this weekend. My son said his knee bent backwards 90 degrees, and now they're saying that his leg injury is so bad that the arteries he tore, that there's a possibility that he may lose his leg.
That was Miller from the Bears. That was their tight end.
Yeah, and that's crazy.
I didn't get successful surgery, so he's not in fear of losing his leg now. Now it's about rehab. How long was he under the knife? I don't know, but I know that they did the surgery the other day. They announced that it was successful, so he's no longer in danger of losing the leg. Now it's a question of coming back from the injury.
That's good to hear, because I wasn't able to get any updates on that, but I'm so glad to hear that, because I heard that injury was real bad, and it's almost like when Drew Bledsoe took that hit years ago from Mo Lewis, and originally we heard that he was internally bleeding and he almost lost his life, and then they pulled that story back and they gave some cushy story, and then Drew Bledsoe finally come out and said, no, it was that bad, I almost died, he was internally bleeding, but for some reason the NFL didn't want people to know about that. I don't know. That drives me crazy about the NFL. Why would the NFL not want people to know about that? Ken, I'm going to ask you that.
Really? You need to ask that question. Money!
What money?
Gambling. All the gamblers. Number one, and number two, it affects the brand. No one wants to admit this is a very dangerous game where people can get life-ending, maybe even career-ending, maybe even life-ending injuries.
I agree with that comment right there. Boom. I think you're right. I think people don't want to realize that there's a risk of death in the game of the NFL, and we have had deaths in the NFL, and they've been swept under the rug real quick. We've had this happen with guys with concussions or things. So, do you agree with that? Do you think that's why when that happened, they did that real quick? Somebody's typing real hard. Your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts?
I think it's a business decision. There's no doubt about it. It's a business decision.
I think it's crazy. It just bothers me. It's crazy. So we're at 5:46. Maybe I think we can get into our picks.
Yeah, let's do the picks.
We did take a hammer last week, but let's get on it. Let's start them off because we do have a game coming up in a couple hours.
All right. Let's start off, and I will admit that as much as I hate to admit it, last week R Squared over here only missed one pick. And I'm very upset with him because my last week's picks were an absolute freaking disaster. I think I had two right picks. I think one of them was the Patriots, so I'm not even sure if that counts. Mm-hmm. All right, tonight, 8:25 p.m., the Battle of the East, Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets in New Jersey.
Buffalo.
Okay.
Buffalo. They're on the roll.
Right? Buffalo. No kidding, guys. Buffalo's going to crush them. Okay, Sunday, 1 p.m., Indianapolis Colts at the Texans in Texas.
Oh, my God. Man, that's a tough one because I like both teams. I like Jacoby. I like this kid, Deshaun Watson, down there. Man, oh, my goodness. I really have to pick this game. You know what? I'm going to go with the Texans. They played a hell of a game last week and fell short. And, Richard Sherman comes out and says, we played all the legends, but this kid, Deshaun, is going to be something. I'm going with the Texans.
Houston Astros just won the World Series. I think Houston is on a roll. They're coming back from the hurricane. Also, the Texans lost a awesome game last week. I don't see them losing two in a row. I'll go with the Texans. Okay, the Battle of the Cats. Cincinnati Bengals at the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Can we call PETA? Oh, man.
I'm going to go Cincinnati.
You know what? It's a toss-up for me. I'm gonna go with Jacksonville. Is Mariota back?
I don't know. I'm going with Jacksonville as well. I mean, Cincinnati, I'm sorry, they're okay home team, but they can't seem to win on the road to save their lives, and they're on the road. Okay, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans.
Oh, man, we got some horrible matchups this week. Jesus.
I'm going Saints.
You know what? I'm going to go Saints. I had picked Tampa Bay to be the team to beat this year as most improved, and they pretty much kicked my dream in the dirt there, so I'm going to have to go with the Saints.
Every time I pick the Buccaneers this year, they've managed to lose. And I like the Buccaneers, so I'm going to pick the Saints, because hopefully, if I pick the team that I want them to beat them, they'll just win to spite me. So
Reverse psychology?
Yeah.
Reverse psychology.
All right. The LA Rams at the New Jersey Dumpsters. Oops, I'm sorry, the New York Giants.
Oh, wow.
Well, that game's over in London, keep in mind.
Yes,
no, that was last year. Never mind, that was last year it was in London. That was last year.
Yeah, last year, okay. Yeah. Well, they're at New Jersey. R Squared, are you Giants going to stop embarrassing me and win a game? Another game, I can say?
No, the Rams are looking too strong this season. This isn't the year. They beat them last year. This year it's going to be the Rams.
Okay, Sinista1?
Rams.
Yep, I'm going with the Rams. The Atlanta Falcons, the NFL's most disappointing team, at the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. Sinista1?
Look, you know what? The Atlanta Falcons have some problems. I don't know what the hell's going on down there. I'm going with Carolina.
Yeah, I thought highly of Atlanta this year, but they're just inconsistent. I'll have to go with Carolina.
I don't know what happened, if they've cursed a voodoo queen, or someone stepped on a crack, or someone's taking crap, but Atlanta has fallen apart this year. Yeah, Panthers all the way.
Well, the rumor out of Atlanta is that Matt Ryan is not getting along with the coach. That's what the rumor is.
I wouldn't be surprised, but there's got to be something more than that. Okay, the Denver Broncos, who start off the season Boston strong, but are falling apart at the seams, are at the team no one predicted, the Philadelphia Eagles, with the best record in the NFL. What do we think, guys? AFC, NFC powerhouse match.
It's going to be in Philadelphia. I'm going with the Eagles.
Yeah, look, the Philadelphia fans, they're hot. They're rabid right now. I can't see Denver coming in there and winning that game. No way. Philly all the way.
I wouldn't care if they played this game on the moon. It's Philadelphia all the way. All right, the Baltimore Ravens at the Tennessee Titans. Two teams, again, really disappointing this year. Sinista1, it's your turn. You're up first.
Yeah, they're dragging them out. You know what? The Ravens are still finding something. When they win, they find a way to win. I'm going to go with the Ravens this week. And I also think it's a low-scoring game, too.
Yeah, the Ravens had a pretty good outing last week. I'm going to go with Baltimore again.
The Ravens had a good game last week, but then they're lucky. They're playing on the road. They're not a particularly good road team. Tennessee has been hit and miss, so I'm flipping a coin, and it's the Titans by a field goal or less. Okay. The Arizona Cardinals, and I still choke when I say that because I keep wanting to call them the St. Louis Cardinals, at the doormat of the NFL, the San Francisco 49ers. You know, new quarterback, new time slot. Is there any chance San Francisco will actually win a game this year, or squared?
I think there's a chance they could win a game this year, and this may be one of those games that they have a decent shot at winning, but I'm going to have to go with Arizona just for the pick.
Sinista?
Arizona's secondary is horrible. I'm going with my man. Recently released, just put out there. Look, Jimmy Garoppolo, man, I think he's going to torch him. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to make this trade look brilliant, and I'm going with San Fran with the win.
All right. You know, in a couple of weeks, I would say yes, but not today. I'm going with the Cardinals. All right. The Washington Native Americans at the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, they went through court. They keep their name.
You know, Seattle, I understand how that defense gave up so many points, as good as Deshaun Watson and the Texans are. So, you know, it makes it look like Washington has a shot, but I think they're going to rebound, and they're at home in Seattle where it's impossible to win. I'm going Seattle.
Okay, Sinista1?
Same here. I'm going with Seattle all the way. That Redskins team, they got some problems.
Yeah, Washington has been real lucky this year. I don't know if someone bought a match ticket or genie bottle, whatever. But they're not going into Seattle and winning. No way, Hawks. All right, Kansas City Chiefs at the Dallas Cowboys. Do we really need to call this one? Sinista1, you're up.
This is a scrap. This is a scrap game. But like I said, they lost Ezekiel Elliott. The suspension's in place. Kansas City all the way.
Yeah, Kansas City.
All right. No question, Kansas City. Dallas couldn't beat their own cheerleading squad at this point. The LA Raiders at the Miami Dolphins. The battle of the basement. R-squared, who are we going with?
You know, I'm going to have to change my mind now with the Ajayi trade because I think the Dolphins are giving up. I'm going Raiders.
R-squared took the friggin' words right from my mouth. I was going to say the same exact thing. When you give a guy up like Ajayi to the Eagles and to set them up to win their title, when you're still in the AFC East where anything can happen, why give up now with a trade? I feel like they've given up. I felt the same. Same thing. There's no way the Dolphins win this game. I'm sorry.
Nicole Darth, I find your lack of faith disturbing. The Raiders find more ways and new and creative ways to lose than any other team in the NFL. I think Miami is going to finally get their head out of the you-know-what and actually win some more games. I'm going with Miami because they are playing at home. They were on the road, I wouldn't say that.
All right. The NFC matchup of the week. Detroit Lions, who are one game under 400, going against the Roger-less Packers. 8:30 Monday night at Lambeau Field. Gentlemen, are squared. What do you got for me? Okay, I think we lost our squared. I can see his lips moving, but I cannot hear him.
Oh, here he goes. He's talking, but we can't hear him again.
We cannot hear him, and unfortunately,
he's taking a sip.
I would say, Green Bay is just an incredibly good team, even without Aaron Rodgers. They do really well at Lambeau, but Detroit, I don't know. They had a tough week last week. I think they want to go in there and prove something. I'm going to have to go Detroit in an upset.
Okay, Sinista1.
You know what? I'm not even really calling an upset. I'm liking Detroit in this game. I'm really liking Detroit in this game. Even at Lambeau Field, like I said, this game is without Aaron Rodgers, and they're ripe for the picking at any week. So, Detroit.
We're making it unanimous. I'm going with Detroit, too. We're at Lambeau Field, but we're not in Lambeau Field in December. It's still pretty warm for an NFC North game. The Lions have been hit and miss all season. They can't seem to put everything together, but I don't think they've ever lost 2 in a row. And the Packers, I'm sorry, they're a good team without Aaron Rodgers, but they're a little bit aimless. I'm going with the Lions in a major upset. And that, gentlemen, is the NFL this week.
And we got 4 minutes left before we close out the show. So we did a full 2 hours tonight. Got everything pretty much in on our topics. I believe we touched base on the NFL. We touched base on the trade. 4 minutes ago, I was going to talk about this whole Illuminati, human spirit versus human spirit type thing. But I think I'm going to save that for a show. That could actually spawn up a lot of discussion there because of what has just happened this week with the Houston Astros. So, there's a lot of stuff to support the conversation. So maybe we'll shoot for that for next week, and we'll put that on the table because we've only got about 3 minutes left. And I know our squid's got to get out to the grilled cheese truck. Man, a grilled cheese food truck. I know the grilled cheese is going to be slamming on that right there. And I know Ken is sitting here in his office in Brockton, and every week he's devoted to doing this show. And when he does this show, he's stuck here in Brockton, and then he has to drive all the way home to Melrose. And for those of us who know Massachusetts, driving home to Melrose at 6 o'clock at night. Well, I'm going to ask Ken, which is easier? Is it easier for you to leave at 6 o'clock at night and get to Melrose, or is it harder to leave at 3? Which is easier for you, traffic-wise?
Traffic-wise, first of all, I can't leave at 3 because I've got too much work to do, so I couldn't leave. The earliest I could leave was 4, and it's a pain in the butt. I'd much rather leave at 6 or 7, to be perfectly honest.
Because there's less traffic?
Less traffic, less aggravation, and I get more work done. And I can broadcast from here, and I don't have you complaining about, my equipment, my Wi-Fi, whatever, so I get less complaints about my equipment from you if I stick in Brockton.
And you know what, it's funny.
It's how we roll.
It's funny about that commute like that, because I'm up at Logan, and I work from 10 to 6. So if I leave work exactly at 6, I'm home by 6:30. No traffic. 2 hours or more, because it's going to take me almost an hour to get through the tunnel. It's not worth it. It's a big difference. And because I work at the airport, it's just horrible.
Our square's got like a 2-minute commute. I mean, I think he rolls out of bed and walks across campus.
Well, it takes me an hour and a half to get to class on Wednesday nights to teach, and that's because of rush hour traffic. I would normally be about, and I give myself 2 hours just so I'm not late, because the students will leave if I'm more than a minute or two late. That there's no 10-minute rule anymore. So. I sit in traffic for a long time, but I get to listen to some good news radio and make myself a little smarter.
Well, you'll have to let them know that you're going to be. We're working on hopefully interviewing Ginuwine in a couple of weeks, and once that's locked down and confirmed, I will let everyone know. But I'm pretty sure if you tell your students, I'm getting ready to interview Ginuwine possibly on our show, the females in your class might be a little ecstatic about it. not much so the males, but it's a good gig, and it's November 17th. But we had a good show, great show tonight. Like I said, I'm going to hold off on this topic about the human spirit versus the possibility of Illuminati controlling things, or so we say, the cigarette smoking man from X-Files. If anybody remembers him, they were controlling all of these things that happened in history, and on X-Files, it turned out that the government was actually controlling all of these crazy things that happened, like people winning the Academy Award and stuff like that, and you wonder, you're like, oh my God, it was such political and it was just, that's why X-Files was such a great show. It was just, oh my God, unbelievable. So, 6 o'clock, we're getting ready to get out of here. I'm going to say our goodbyes, I'm going to let R-Square go first.
Hey, and remember, everybody, stay informed. Knowledge is power. Don't listen to people that don't make sense.
Ken?
Booyah. I want to say a big thank you to all of our listeners, all 12 of them, and I'd like to wish a belated 17th anniversary to my brother and sister-in-law, who celebrated their 17th anniversary last week. We weren't on. Kudos to you. And hey, everybody out there, guys, crazies are out there. Be safe.
Yeah, I got to say shout out to everybody who tuned in the show, listens, supports the show. I got a big wedding coming up for a buddy of mine that I grew up with. He's finally getting married. It's almost like we caught the bug, because me and him both were like, we're never going to get married. And I got married last year. He's getting married this year. So Mike and Megan, big congrats. I can't wait for this weekend. Me and Dawn are heading out Saturday morning. So we got a hotel and stuff. And we get to see Janet Jackson on Sunday here in Boston. So, hey, it's good stuff. 6 o'clock. Thanks for tuning in. SpongeBob, do me a favor. Take us home.
Well, see you next Tuesday.
Thanks for tuning in to the booth at Whoobazoo.com. Please make sure to tune in for more booth next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. New York Eastern Standard Time. Become a fan on their Facebook page and check out their podcast on iTunes. The booth is hosted by Sinista1, Z-Man, and Ken Diesel.
I've got to start hanging out with friends that are a little more intelligent and understand politics and stuff. It's just that I'm up on this level up here, and all my friends are down here. Me, nah. You guys, nah. Maybe they're more down in here. Screw you guys!